All right. Again, thank you all for being here today. It is April 8th, 2025, and another great channeling session with the Blue Healers. We'll see if the other healers come as well today. For those of you who attended the healing session on Friday, it really was amazing. And for those of you who would like to join, go ahead and drop your email address in the chat so that Lori can put it on the spreadsheet and I'll add it to the list where the emails will come directly to you about the healing sessions when they're happening. There will not be another one until probably another couple of weeks, but they're generally on a Friday morning at 7 a.m. Hawaii time. And we'll do 1 to 2 of them a month, just to let you know. But it'll all be announced in both the Telegram chat and in an email to each of you if you're on the email list. My preference is that you are on the email list. That way you can get announcements about the healings, a little bit more specifics. I will not be putting specific information into the Telegram group. All right. Again, thanks for being here. Go ahead and close your eyes. We'll begin with the basic heart breath. And during that time, I'll tap into the beings who are here today. With your eyes closed, begin to scan your body from head to toe, looking for a baseline of what's going on in your body right now. Is there tension? Are there pervasive thoughts? Do you have feelings, discomfort of any kind? Just notice it. And we'll begin with the heart breath on 3. The directions are as follows. Breathe in through the energy centers 6 and 5. Pull the energy to the heart. With the in-breath, allow the heart center to expand. With the exhale, you release the energy from the front of the heart center. Allow it to circle around to the back, around the arms, and to rise up the spine and out the top of the head, where at the end of the exhale, your energy will rest in the 8th energy center. 1, 2, 3. Breathe in through 6 and 5 to 4. Release from front to back and up to 8. Breathe in through 6 and 5 to 4. Release from front to back and up to 8. Breathe in through 6 and 5 to 4. Release from front to back and up to 8. Breathe in through 6 and 5 to 4, 3, 2, and 1, allowing each energy center to expand. Release from front to back and up to 8. Breathe in through 6 and 5 to 5. Release from front to back and back to front and up to 8. Breathe in through 6 and 5 to 6. Release from front to back and up to 8. Breathe in through 6 and 5 to 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1 all at once. Release from front to back and up to 8. Breathe in from 8 to 1 in a spiral, pulling the energy down around the spine. Release from 1 to 8 in a spiral. Breathe in from 8 to 2 in a spiral. Release from 2 to 8 in a spiral. Breathe in from 8 to 3 in a spiral. Release from 3 to 8 in a spiral. Breathe in from 8 to 4 in a spiral. Release from 4 to 8 in a spiral. Breathe in from 8 to 5 in a spiral. Release from 5 to 8 in a spiral. Breathe in from 8 to 6 in a spiral. Release from 6 to 8 in a spiral. Breathe in from 8 to 7 in a spiral. Release from 7 to 8 in a spiral. Breathe in from 8 to 0 in a spiral. Release from 0 to 8 in a spiral. Breathe in from 8 to 0. Release from 0 to 8. Breathe in from 8 to 0. Release from 0 to 8. Breathe in from 8 to 0. Release from 0 to 8. Breathe in from 8 to 0. Release from 0 to 8. Breathe in from 8 to 0. Release from 0 to 8. And resume natural breathing. There are many changes in your world at this time. For those of you who have any sense of fear, simply relax into knowing that all is well, that the changes in your world will produce a more beautiful effect within the individual humans and in the collective. Many of you are on the precipice of change in relationship to how you perceive the fifth dimensional reality. These higher dimensional realities are, as we have explained, part of who you are in every moment. They are within you and all around you. They are only different from the 3D experience because they reside in what you would perceive to be, at this time, the unseen world. Know that as your perceptual abilities begin to change, as your perceptual abilities expand, you will feel more of a sense of expansion, freedom, and joy so long as you experience the extra dimensional realities, the extra dimensional beings, the extra dimensional experiences with a sense of curiosity and wonder. These characteristics of curiosity and wonder have been somewhat lost in the human being because the mechanism for survival has been turned on and made somewhat of a more popular existence rather than the existence of curiosity and wonder, the experience of dreaming and living in beauty. So know that as you breathe in with these breath techniques, you are releasing yourself from the need for the survival mechanism. Anything related to the survival mechanism, such as depression, anxiety, fear, tension in the body, and illness of any kind, is a response to the evolution of the biological being that you call human. However, it has been a choice over many centuries for humans to opt into the sense of fear and survival because the chemistry in the human body has made it so that those feelings produce a response whereby the brain becomes addicted to those chemical responses. Those of you who are in this space, you are actively attempting to disengage from the fight or flight chemical reaction in the brain and body. Be patient with yourselves as you are attempting to and succeeding with the release of the need for that particular type of chemistry in your body. Heightened sensitivity, meaning challenges with the skin of the human body, difficulties with digestion or with the nervous system in the human body, are all indicators of the persistent fight or flight response in your human body. Today, in particular, we are requesting that you begin to sense into your connection between the eighth energy center and the zero energy center and the channel of the quantum field that connects the two in your spinal column. As you know, your energy system flows from the top of the head, circling out around the body into the surface, meaning the earth beneath you, where it allows energy to release both into eight and into zero. And that energy flow goes up through the center of the spine and out to eight once again. This quantum channel between 0 and 8 that goes through your spine is attempting to draw information of disharmony, of discord, of illness into the quantum field of nothingness to allow you to be reinformed with pure energy. As you begin to exist in the reality of nothing, as you begin to recognize that you live in the quantum field in all moments and in the 3D reality simultaneously, you will begin to feel a change in the ways you perceive time and space. So if your body feels like it is floating or free falling, or you feel a sense of lightness and levity that is not associated with the gravity of your 3D world, know that you are beginning to change in your perceptual state. Allow then, if you will, at the same time, a focus on positive rhetoric, meaning the words that you speak, not only to others outside of you, but also into your own mind. Be mindful of these words and how the spaces between these words are also part of the quantum field, and that your ability to create and cycle and recycle these energies will determine the 3D reality you see all around you and outside yourself. When you become capable of releasing energies and reproducing, recreating, or simply creating energies within your quantum energy field that is part of you, your 3D reality will then begin to manifest completely differently than perhaps what you have been experiencing in your past. So, this means that you have the opportunity at every moment to change your reality to something new. The breath is the key to this change because by focusing on the breath, you will recognize that you have the opportunity to allow change to exist between 8 and 0 up through your spine, where it releases out into and through your nerves to every cell of your body. This information change that you are currently becoming experts at in this moment and for every moment forward will become a reality where every time you take a breath, you will have this exchange and your life will increase into levity, joy, connection, harmony, and coherence in much more beautiful and deeper ways. You are here because this is what you seek. This is what you desire. Many of you, in terms of manifestation, seek to bring into your life love, relationships, money, experiences, or greater health. Instead, focus on the intermingling process of 3D and 5D, allowing your world to create itself as it will, because in your world, your 3D world, being connected to other dimensional realities means that everything that you desire will come to you. Everything that you need will come to you. The specifics are not so important as the focus on the intermingling of the third dimension with the fifth dimension, where there is a dance between what you see and experience and the known, and what you experience in the unknown in terms of feelings, sensory perceptions, and the deep level of trust you have in knowing that everything you desire will come to you. So, with your eyes closed, focusing on your breath, without our guidance or direction, do several heart breath practices. Notice that you can do this while we speak to you, which means you are capable of breathing in through 6 and 5 to 4, releasing from front to back and up to 8, with information coming through your ears, meaning we are speaking to you at the same time. And also, we request that you open your eyes and look into the screen and continue to do this heart breath. Notice how capable you are of experiencing the 3D reality while simultaneously connecting to 5D as well. The breath is just as potent with your eyes open as it is with your eyes closed. And with the eyes open and your awareness on whatever is before you, breathe in through 6 and 5 to 3. Allow the energy to spiral, circle around, and spiral back up to 8. Now breathe in through 6 and 5 to 2. And release from front to back and up to 8. Breathe in through 6 and 5 to 1. Keeping your eyes open, release from front to back and up to 8. Breathe in through 6 and 5 to 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release from front to back and up to 8. Now look around your space and breathe in through 6 and 5 to 4. Notice your belongings around you. Notice where you are. Release the breath from front to back and up to 8. Breathe in through 6 and 5 to 3 with your eyes open. Notice your belongings. Notice where you are. Release the energy from front to back and up to 8. Notice how you can do both at the same time. Breathe in through 6 and 5 to 2. With eyes open, release from front to back and up to 8. Breathe in through 6 and 5 to 1. Release from front to back and up to 8. With eyes open, breathe in from 8 to 1 in a spiral. Release from 1 to 8 in a spiral. Focus your eyes on something in your material world. Notice what it is and what it looks like as you breathe in from 8 to 2 in a spiral. Release from 2 to 8. With your eyes open, be mindful of how your energy, your awareness can do both things, that you can see in your 3D world and you can breathe in from 8 to 3 in a spiral. This quintessential practice will allow you to see that you exist in both worlds as you release from 3 to 8. Breathe in from 8 to 4 in a spiral. What objects surround you in your world? Look at them with your eyes. What do you do with these things? Consider those 3D realities as you release from 4 to 8 with your breath, tapping into simultaneously the release of energies to 8. Breathe in from 8 to 5 in a spiral. Sense into your body with your eyes open. What is your energy doing in your body? Release from 5 to 8. Where is your awareness with your eyes? Breathe in from 8 to 6 in a spiral. Notice the activation of your pineal gland as you breathe in with your eyes open. Where are your thoughts? What are you sensing? Release from 6 to 8 in a spiral. Breathe in from 8 to 7 in a spiral. What do you see in your world around you with your eyes open? Release and sense from 7 to 8 in a spiral. Breathe in from 8 to 0 in a spiral. With your eyes open, sense the energy vortex of the spiral, pulling tension into the 0 energy center. With your eyes open, release from 0 to 9. What are you sensing? What do you see? What do you feel? What do you hear? What do you experience in this moment? Now close your eyes. Breathe in from 9 to 0. Refocus the intention, your attention, to the unseen world within you. Release from 0 to 9, allowing the vortex to draw tension, thoughts, incoherence, and energy as it releases in 9. Breathe in from 9 to 0, eyes closed. Breathe in light, coherence, love, beauty, connection, wonder, curiosity in, through, and through the body in that spiral. Now release from 0 to 9, experiencing love, connection, beauty, coherence, wonder, and curiosity. Breathe in from 9 to 0, love, connection, coherence, beauty, wonder, curiosity. Release from 0 to 9, coherence, connection, love, beauty, wonder, curiosity, informing each of your cells with light and love. Breathe in from 9 to 0, informing the cells with light, love, connection, curiosity, wonder, joy, beauty, fun. Release from 0 to 9, informing the cells with love, with light, with coherence, beauty, connection, joy, curiosity, and wonder. Breathe in from 9 to 0. Release from 0 to 9. Breathe in from 9 to 0. Release from 0 to 9. Breathe in from 9 to 0. Release from 0 to 9. Resume natural breathing. When you are ready, you may begin with your first question. Your eyes can be open or closed, whichever is most comfortable for you, and continue any breath practice you feel called to do at any time.
Thank you for that breath work. That was phenomenal. Our first question comes from Daniela. She asks, if I understand correctly from a prior session, while it is very important that we consume quality and clean water and foods we consume are less critical, while through the years I stopped being so worried about consuming everything organic, I still take lots of vitamins and minerals in the form of supplements to ensure my body is not deficient in anything it may need to be healthy. Is this really necessary, or am I stressing too much for something that I should let go of?
This is such a perfect question for the forum today. The word stress is the operative word in what was spoken today. For each and every one of you, anytime there is stress in the body, you are needing to be mindful of this fact. Stress of any kind around any experience, whether it is food or intake of water, experiences with individuals, or simply your day-to-day activities, is an experience that is going to be a little less positive on the body and the cells. Stress of any kind is what we were discussing earlier, the addiction to the fight or flight response that humans are so commonly experiencing in this time period on Earth in your world. So, if eating organic foods brings you joy, do so. If eating something that is full of chemicals in your planet brings you joy, do so. It is about noticing and recognizing what is going on in the body, in the mind, in your attitude, in your energy field at the moment you make any choice whatsoever. Many of your kind elect to do troubling experiences with the body when it comes to food. Any time you make choices around food that do not produce positive, loving connection and coherence within your heart, you are doing something that is detrimental to your system. So, as we have mentioned before, clean water is absolutely essential to the proper functioning of the human body. It is more important, perhaps, than the foods that you eat because the human body requires a certain amount of pure and clean water in order to process energies between 3D and 5D. Love the foods that you eat. Love the experiences you have in the 3D world. How does the food feel in your mouth when you chew it up? How does the digestive process feel in your body? How does it make your body feel when you are consuming something in a specific space? Are you happy to be eating the foods that you are selecting in the home environment? Are you happy in specific restaurants? When you walk into an eatery, do you feel a sense of joy? If not, leave the establishment and go somewhere else. If you do not feel a sense of joy in your kitchen as you are preparing foods, what needs to change? What needs to change in your experience of everything you are doing around food? If you are stressing in any way, if you are choosing to do something around food based on a belief system that creates tension in your body, it is time for you to examine why it is you require this tension in your body around food. Why do you need to control what you are eating in a way that makes you unhappy? Keep in mind that, as we have discussed earlier in this call, many humans in your world have an addiction to the brain chemistry, the experience of chemical releases in the body. Any sort of chemical addiction in the brain or in the body is going to produce sensations of fight or flight, whether it is through awareness or not. So, for example, you may be a long time practitioner of meditation, which means that you either are very good at being relaxed in your body, or it may be that you have developed a very solid and persistent coping mechanism of overriding the sense of anxiety and the sense of fight or flight, and that chemical response is still operative beneath your ability to meditate and use that as a coping mechanism to trick yourself into believing that you have achieved something that still has an underlying pattern of survival. The breath practices that we do with you allow you an opportunity to continually breathe into the tension in your body. If there is tension anywhere in your thoughts, in your physical being, then you still have a sense of the need for the chemical reactions in your body for survival. So keep in mind that what you eat, how you eat it, when you eat it, where you eat it, gives you information on what is really going on in your system. Stress of any kind around food is an indicator that your energy, the unseen world, is attempting to communicate with you that you need to increase joy, increase coherence, increase love and connection in your body and in the chemistry. When you are able to put food into your mouth and experience joy, when you are able to sense how food creates tense reactions in your body, you will have a greater understanding of what you need to eat, when you need to eat it, maybe why you need to eat it, and how everything that you eat and consume, whether it is through the mouth, through the eyes, through the skin, through your auditory perceptions, will become an act of joy, which allows the body and the heart to sing in coherence. Your next question, please.
The next question comes from Melissa. It feels like there is a lot of emphasis on identifying with one's culture or racial heritage. I wondered what the multidimensional perspective on this is and what they feel the advantages or disadvantages of this kind of identification may be.
For us, the identification for you on your culture, on your religion, and on your differences is in direct opposition to creating coherence within you. For us, we believe that this conversation should cease to exist because it does not exist in our world or our reality. So, even as the question was asked, it took us a moment to tap into your world to figure out exactly what that even meant. Because it does not exist in fifth dimensional reality or dimensional realities outside of 3D, we highly encourage you to begin to experience your world with a lack of separation. Anything, any thought, any time you need a label to separate yourselves from others, you are going away from the connection to the fifth dimensional reality. Think about this for a moment. Please, each of you, think about this. What label have you given yourself that gives you pause to imagine that you are somehow different? Are you a specific race, a specific religion, a specific gender? Are you identifying with your career, with your ability as a practitioner, with something outside of you that you believe defines you? It is when you look in the mirror and you see nothing whatsoever that you are a little bit closer to your connection to, in all moments, the fifth dimensional reality as a 3D being. This does not mean that you will look in the mirror and you will be invisible. It means you will look in the mirror and exactly what you see is exactly what you know yourself to be only in 3D. The 3D world, again, from a visual perspective in your science, is very limited. There is a very small spectrum of what you see. That is true of your 3D world. As each of you cease to identify yourselves as a race, as a religion, as an ethnicity, as a separate being from one another, you will begin to see that these categories are unnecessary and bordering on ridiculous. As soon as you are able to see that categories are a form of play that exists in the 3D world that enables you to remain separate from yourself and ultimately from one another, that is the beginning of recognizing your deeper connection between 3D and 5D. Let it all go. Allow yourselves the freedom to just be alive in whatever form you have, in knowing that it is perfect. Your next question, please.
Our next question is from Claudia. In the last month, I can feel lots of changes in the heart area with physical pains, elevated heart rates. I can feel also fear underneath. Is there something I can do to help myself in this process?
Breathe, 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 and keep breathing. Claudia, this question is so very helpful for everyone in this space at this time. And we have addressed this conversation, so we know that, and you should know that prior to this hour of time together even happened, you were already tapping into the importance of this question for this space in this moment, in this time. See how the collapse of your time went from being spread out to one individual moment. You were simultaneously, when you wrote this question, here and there at the same time. Bravo, you are on the right track. As we said earlier, you may be the most adept practitioner in meditation, yet there is still an underlying fear beneath where the heart is coherent. This conversation is relevant to each of you in this call today because we are asking with the breath, the heart breath, the spiral breath, that you continually are scanning your body for underlying tension. The fear that you feel in your heart, Claudia, is a reaction from a time, a place, in a previous experience, what you might call the past on your timeline. As you were both the questioner and the person in this space receiving the answer at the same time, the same is true of the fear in your heart from the past and the understanding of release of that fear in the moment today. As you begin to see that the timeline squeezes into one point, you can begin to recognize that the coherence practice that you are doing will begin to, with the breath practice, allow the tension of the fear in your heart to dissolve little by little. Perhaps you will turn your gaze to the past to attempt to understand what trauma experience created that fear for you. Allow that gaze to be there for only a fraction of a second. Once you are cognizant of its origins, you can say to yourself, I could choose to live there in the fear that seems to be expressing itself in the present, or I can choose to breathe in through 6 and 5 to 4, allowing the heart energy to dissolve that fear and pain and suffering and tension as I release the breath from front to back and up to 8. As I begin to allow the force of and the energy pattern release from front to back and up to 8, it is a little like a fishing hook and a fishing line that will grab onto that original trauma and drag it from front to back up the quantum tunnel in the spine, where it will fling it out into the 8th energy center of the information of all things. Once you release both the tension of the trauma of the past, the hook that has grabbed it, the line that reels it in, up into 8, you will fling it off into the information of your world, your universe, and the universe of the solar system, your galaxy, and the innumerable galaxies of the universe. See how tiny that suffering is in the context of the field of all information of all things in the 8th energy center. Allow it to disperse, allow it to reorganize, and allow it to come back in with a choice from the 8th energy center through 6 and 5 into the heart for love, coherence, connection, beauty, curiosity, and wonder. When you allow the breath then to expand in the heart of this beautiful thing that you are creating for yourself, it emerges through not only every cell in your body, but back into that timeline where the space where the trauma existed fills up with joy, connection, coherence, patience, kindness, joy, curiosity, and wonder. Continually do this again and again, because there is a habit and a pattern for you to remember the fear in your heart. You will need to continually do the breath practice, allowing the hook, the line, and the release from front to back and up to 8 to continually throw that information into the 8th energy center of the information of all things, because you will need to reorganize that principle into joy, love, and coherence as you pull it back through 6 and 5 to 4, allowing that energy center to expand with love, with joy, with connection. Eventually, the information will be reprogrammed and the fear will release itself completely, because you will have only joy, connection, coherence, curiosity, wonder, love in that space. We ask you, Claudia, to come back to us in this space in 7 days' time, in 14 days' time, 21 days' time, in 28 days' time, and see how this has changed with the simple practice of breathing. Allow that heart breath to become what we call your natural breathing pattern. You will see remarkable changes in your world as a result. Your next question, please.
We are near the end of the session. Would you like another question, or shall we pause for next week?
One more question, please.
The questioner is Yana. She asks, I am so afraid to get hurt that I freeze when I feel the need to be sensitive and affectionate towards my mother. I also feel that I might be creating an attention loop from my inner child by behaving this way. How can I create a loving, balanced, and safe relationship with my mother?
Yana, you have a relationship with a person who has given you life and with whom you share your DNA. There may be in this lifetime a continued experience of disconnect from that person who gave you life. However, that does not mean that you need to live in that habit and that pattern any longer. So, what we are experiencing right now with you is that there are two things happening. One is that you are developing independence from your parent. So, in your world and in human development, you call it the process of individuation. For many of you, and your research seems to imply, that the process of individuation happens in childhood and perhaps ceases to exist when the teenage years are complete. This is a misunderstanding, because the process of individuation continues not only throughout the experience the human has within a lifetime of 3D, but for eternity. Because the process of individuation is one for you right now, where you are still a child of this mother. When you are capable and able of seeing through the process of emotional maturity and release of the need for whatever that chemistry is between you and that person you call your mother, you will discover that you are a sovereign and independent being. That also does not mean that you need to be a sovereign and independent being from the rest of the world. None of this is true. It is all a hologram that you experience in your day-to-day life. So, as you begin to breathe in and release the tension you experience from whatever it is you have defined as this mother-child relationship, you will begin to see that there is no cord, there is no bond, there is no binding between you and that person, except the application of the thoughts that you have created and the chemistry you have created around whatever that relationship is. Your world creates addictions and needs for these relationships out of chemistry from your childhood. It is a wonderful time for each of you to see that these experiences you have created are much of what we have been discussing. There is tension and fear for you, Yana, in this relationship. Continually begin to breathe. For you, the spiral breath is most important, because the spiral breath allows the opportunity to break those bonds, those cords, those lines of whatever they are that you humans have created between one another. The spiral breath will eliminate the need for that because it will allow your energy field to create a little bit more of a separation between you and your mother. Know that it will also be important for you to recognize that you need to do the same for you and your child or your children. The thought of doing it with a child is perhaps something that creates a little bit of tension in your heart. It is the same exact thing. Your mother created these bonds. Your mother created these addictions. Granted, it was unconscious. It is something that simply happens in your world. As you begin to understand that you, as a being, are in your own energy field, whole and complete, your child will be outside of that experience as well. You need to make peace, Yana, in your heart with these experiences, with the individuals with whom you share DNA. It does not mean you will be disconnected from them. It does not mean you will stop speaking with them. It simply means that you are allowing freedom within and around yourself so that others can have freedom within and around themselves as well. Keep it simple. Continue to breathe the spiral breath and allow yourself to emerge from the experience of being bound by these definitions you have created around your mother and around yourself and within yourself as a mother. Freedom is what you seek. Allow yourself freedom today. You can do this. You know exactly what to do. We believe and trust in your ability to bring this freedom, love, and connection into yourself and into your heart. We are complete with questions at this time. We ask once again that each of you close your eyes and, in support of Yana and each and every one of you, breathe in from 8 to 0 in a spiral. Release from 0 to 8 in a spiral. Notice how this spiral is for you alone. Breathe in from 8 to 0 in a spiral. Release from 0 to 8. Notice how the spiral allows any outside energies that produce tension in your body to be severed so that your energy can be whole and complete within you. Breathe in from 8 to 0. Release from 0 to 8. Breathe in from 8 to 0. Release from 0 to 8. Resume natural breathing and scan your body. Notice the heightened level of freedom you feel. We would like to thank you for this experience today. Your beautiful questions are indicative of your desire for your heart to expand, for your love and connection to consume you, for the experience of harmony and coherence to be present within you at all times, for the release of 3D to dissolve into your connection to 5D. We embrace each of you and all of you at the same time. We are always here to answer your questions. Just reach out in your meditations or prior to sleep, or first thing when you wake in the morning, or at any time you pause in your day. Remember that our answers will filter through your 3D body. Begin to understand how you, as an individual, perceive energies and information from our world. Allow yourself to trust that these answers are truth for you. We will see you again soon. Have a beautiful day. Okay, let me give you, when you are ready to return, open your eyes. And if you have questions or need clarification on anything that was channeled today, feel free to unmute yourself.
I believe that was a new breath at the beginning there. Um, a little bit different. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, their focus is very much on empowerment, as has come through in previous sessions. So, the self empowerment process and the breath practices are designed to bring each individual into the knowledge within themselves that they are capable of using the breath in combinations, the ones they have released, in ways that will allow you specifically to release those tensions. So, for example, a question about tension in the heart that is underlying what may feel like coherence. Allow the breath to enter into those spaces of the heart where the tension is. Allow the breath practice to enter into challenges in relationships with parents or with others or with your job, and to release so that you can, with intention, allow yourself the freedom, give yourself the grace and allow your heart to expand. If you only have 5 minutes in your day, their recommendation is always to breathe into the tension in your body and allow it to release a little bit. Let yourself off the hook for whatever it is you're struggling with, and allow, even for a fraction of a second, the beauty of love and connection to just be there. And as you do that more and more, the habit and the pattern of breathing in love and connection will become your new normal. It'll override the fear and the tension in the body. So for those of you who come in and you breathe in and you scan the body and you are like, I can't believe I'm still feeling pain or suffering in this area of my body. Why is that still going on? Instead of going into that loop of the thought process of the whys and the whats and the this and the that, simply go in and say, oh, I'm still feeling this here. I'm still feeling this here, or wherever it is. And allow that breath to just go, okay, hey, I'm here. I got you. I'm allowing you to release it just for a moment. You can let it come back as soon as this call's over, or in 5 seconds when you're not doing the breath work again. But for this moment, I'm going to allow this love and this breath to come in and allow the tension to release. And then that becomes a new memory for you. And the more frequently you go in and allow a few seconds or a few minutes of allowing the breath to release tension in that area of your body, um, then the more you'll remember that, and that memory will become stronger and it'll get easier. And you can do it with your eyes open. So today, what they were saying is that you can do this with your eyes open. You don't need to be in meditation. And in fact, they're highly encouraging you to do the breath practices with your eyes open more and more, to allow yourselves the freedom to, or the ability to create freedom and love and connection and coherence within you, even if you're in a meeting and someone else is talking, or if you're, at a traffic light and you're like, oh, I could, do something else, but instead I'm going to breathe softness into and love and connection into myself. That is the way you bring 5D into your world and bring more of that balance in that dance between the 3D and the 5D. Long answer to a short question, Lori, but thank you. Any other questions?
It was perfect. Thank you, Jan.
I've got one, Jan.
Hi, Mike.
Hi. How do you, or could you compare and contrast the practice of frequent breathing, as we are encouraged to do, with, say, a walking meditation, which seems to have a similar goal?
So, all the practices that you do, and any practice that you do that you personally feel drawn to, that bring you into a higher vibrational frequency, into more coherence, whatever words you want to use to describe being imbued with or filled with love and connection, being downstream, that's an Esther Hicks term. Anything that allows you to have a more coherent heart is where you should focus your energy. So today they mentioned about food, and this question happens a lot. And I want you all to remember that you can re-ask the same question over and over. They will keep answering it in multiple ways. But that answer to the food question today is very similar to your question as well in the response, Mike. And that is, walking meditations or any meditation that brings love into your heart, that brings coherence into your heart, is the one that you want to do. As a former athlete, right, and I've spent my whole life in that mindset, that I have a tremendous amount of discipline around everything I do because I started as a competitive athlete at the age of 4. It was part of my human development and my child development. And so for me, sometimes I take meditations, walking meditation, breathing practice to that level where it's like, okay, I have to do this and it's got to be this. And I have to, and then if my mind gets in the way, oh, I have to start over, I have to do this or that. Instead, look at your walking meditation, your breath practice. They're all in alignment if they are in alignment with you and your heart. So for me, I sometimes combine things where I play a little game with myself and I'm like, okay, I'm going to do the heart breath, you know, to 4 to 3 to 2 to 1. And then all of the energy centers 4, 3, 2, and 1 while I'm out walking the dog, or while I'm on a call where I'm, participating in an online class or something. And so know that everything is complementary if we allow it to be complementary. Everything has the ability to open the heart, expand the heart, and create that softness within us if we allow it to. So I wouldn't say that anything that you are doing, meaning you as in anyone, um, needs to be separated into categories. If you feel like you need to do one thing and have a tremendous amount of discipline around it, and that brings you great joy, then do that. Um, but also to, I would say, allow yourself to dance within your world, to see what makes your heart sing in the moment, and allow that to be the thing you choose today or in that moment. Good question.
Perfect. Perfect.
Next, yeah. Next question.
From the chat, Anna, I think is the name. When doing the heart breath, is there a difference to breathe in from 8 instead of 6?
Sure. Yeah. Okay. This is a great question. I love this question. So, the way the blue healers describe it is that the energy centers they each have their own frequency, their own relationship between the unseen world and the seen world. And when the energy comes into and through specific energy centers, there is a function of each individual energy center that informs the body in a certain kind of way. So the human form. And that's the whole point of the energy center, is that it is a conduit for energy to come in and to release, and that symbiotic relationship. So when you're breathing, we love to imagine that the breath is just like I breathe into my lungs, and the whole thing that happens with the cardiovascular system, etc. And I breathe out through my lungs. Instead, imagine with every breath that your energy centers are all breathing in at the same time, and that disciplines of the past have made those energy centers seem separate. And they are kind of like your fingers are each separated from each other, but they're all fingers, right? And they're all part of your human body. And they have feeling, right? So there's a lot of information that comes in just through this. And the same is true of the energy centers. So there's also the glandular system that's associated with the energy system, or the energy centers, right? Do a little research on this because it's really fascinating how the glands are associated with the individual energy centers. But 8 is, and you brought up 8, is it's an interesting question, right? So 8 is the energy center that's above the head, and it moves around, right? Just like our energy centers, the 6 can be way out here, it could be this big, or it could be like way inside or tiny. So the 8th energy center up here, your halo above the head, right up there, is what maybe would be described, like Carl Jung described, as the collective unconscious, or the collective consciousness. It's the place where maybe mythology resides, right? So if you think about mythology and you study mythology, that was kind of one of my areas of interest in my studies. Mythology has emerged in history around the world with the same themes, right? The hero's journey is one common theme. And how was it that these people who were completely so far away from each other, no communication, there were no cell phones, it was, you know, just miles and thousands, tens of thousands of miles away, why they would have similar concepts. So that's all up in 8. That's where that comes from, is that collective. So when you are breathing any energy center, the heart up to 8, through 6 and 5, back up to 8, you are allowing the release of whatever stories you've created in your life, whatever, this is, helpful for Yana too, with any mom, dad, trauma, birth family, non-birth family, whatever, these stories that have created this hologram of the existence and the experience we have in our world. We can, through the breath, pull that energy into the heart, right? And allow that energy center to expand out. So we can say, okay, this energy center is going to pull in now information from my entire energy field. As I exhale and circle around and back up to 8. When it gets up to 8, it's a little like you're breathing out, right? So you're breathing out through the mouth or the nose, and that full exhale comes out somewhere into the world. And then you breathe in again, right? But when you exhale your breath, and we know this to be true of science, right? And I'll use illness as an example, though it's not my favorite. It's probably the one most people can relate to. When you exhale, and you're sick, right? Oh, cough into your elbow, sneeze into your elbow, wear masks, right? We learned a lot about this recently. It's possible for your breath to go out and inform other people with with an illness if you have one. It's a similar kind of process. So what you're doing is you're taking that energy in the exhale going up to 8, where you're allowing it to expand out in the in-breath, pull in, inform up to 8, that collective energy of the universe. Think of it this way. If your story or that information or that energy that you're releasing is one drop of water, you're throwing it out into the ocean of 8. Consider that the ocean, this vast, right? One drop is going to disappear very quickly. So your pain, your suffering, your challenges, your troubles, you're taking that one drop, which is super tiny, and it's going out into the ocean of the universal thought and the universal information. And then when you breathe in, you're pulling. There is an affinity with that, of course. So it's going to be, but it's going to be reinformed. So you're pulling in information. Now, why 6 and 5? What's the difference between breathing in through 6, whether you see it here or here, it doesn't matter. The energy centers are on both sides. So just so you know that. We'll talk about that another time. So when you're breathing in through 6 and 5, you are tempering the information through the pineal gland. And this energy center is about manifestation, right? So you're reinforming it with slightly new information. And then, of course, here, many don't understand the complexity or the importance or the strength of the power of the 5th energy center and pulling it into the heart. So these 3 work together very strongly. So breathing in through 6, I don't know if any of you have experienced this, I know I have, can be very taxing to the nervous system. Because of the sensitivity, especially if those of you who have a lot of practice, the pineal gland can get, we want the radio antenna of the pineal gland to sing and go out there and do its thing and pull in. As you're putting out your intention from the 6. But for those of us with delicate nervous systems, which is probably most of the people on this call, if we do a lot of breathing into or working a lot with the 6 energy center, many of us don't need to force it anymore, I guess is what I'm saying. It's like you can breathe into 6 and it's activated. You're good to go, right? It doesn't mean you need to keep activating it over and over again. That creates more tension and sensitivity in the nervous system. So we sort of temper it through 5, which has the ability to combust a tremendous amount of energies that we, are trying to release. And you pull it into 4, where it's tempered by love and connection coherence. So essentially what you're doing is in that heart breath, and it extends to the other breath practices as well. So apply it to the spiral breath as well. When you're pulling in the energy from 8 versus 6, you are getting a wider body of information. When you're pulling it then in through 6 and 5, you're saying, okay, I'm pulling in this information, but I need for my 3D pineal gland, my thyroid gland, to come down to the heart and be tempered so that this glandular system is in connection. What that does is it allows the information to go out into the cells of the body. So they're a little bit like a filter that comes in. So you're not just working with the elusive energy center, you are, but also it is the connection between 5D and 3D. If that information from 5D does not have the ability to come in and create change in the cells in the body, then you are mechanically doing a breathwork practice that is not going to affect change at all. So, in other words, allow your sense of what you need in your body. So each individual is different, right? To say, okay, I'm breathing in from 8 through 6 and 5. I don't need to know how what I've thrown out there is coming back in differently. All I need to know is my intention is to create more expansion, freedom, connection, love, joy, curiosity, wonder in the cells of my body so that I can have more freedom. So if for you, you're a person who needs to continually activate six because for whatever reason, you need to continually activate six, go ahead and do that. But also know that some of you, if you're feeling heightened levels of sensitivity around you, you suddenly become, or you're feeling lightheaded, begin to just recognize the information your body is giving you. And it won't be the same for you as it is for me. And it won't be the same for Mike as it is for Lori or Nicole or Joni or Cooper. It really is going to be different for every individual. So just be mindful of and recognize the sensations you're feeling and trust that you know the answer for yourself. But that's a little bit of information to assist you, the filter system and how it works, at least with these upper four energy centers, and know that it extends down to the lower ones as well. Yeah. So the glandular system is very, very important. And the pineal gland is not the only. The other glands have a really important role in your manifestation, your transformation, your change, your release of those energies that are out of coherence in a way that you want to be. All right. I can take another question. One more. Oh, I love this. Great question.
There aren't any more questions in the chat, but I thought it would be nice to read Aya's response. She said it was an instant healing today, and due to ENT surgery, she had not been able to breathe for several days. And during the session, it opened completely, step by step, more and more free. And what a precious gift it is, our breath and air, and all our healers in our community. And she's ever thankful.
Wonderful. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. If you would put it into the group chat, if you're comfortable with that, love to see that so that people who didn't make it today are able to see it as well. And I am so very happy for you. Very, very happy. Very pleased. The healers are clapping. Or that means that collectively we're onto something. Yeah. Ah,
Um, uh,
pure love.
while you were talking, there was a little bit of chatter about the exhale and it being information. And someone had mentioned that they were able to smell cancer and Parkinson's. And I know this is a thing that has been documented well for a woman in Scotland who can actually smell cancer, where before we just thought it was dogs, right? And so I think this is one of those things that is emerging for humans as well. Do you or do any of the Blue Healers know what cancer smells like or what Parkinson's smells like?
For the fifth dimensional beings, they do not have sensory perceptions in the ways that humans do. So they see energetic frequencies. So everything has I'm going to use the word fractal because I think that's the only human word that really applies. There are patterns within patterns. And for the fifth dimensional beings, they perceive an inconsistency in that pattern. So it's an actual image, almost like moving artwork. And when the pattern comes by, it shows an inconsistency. And I'm saying this because it is the same for humans who develop disability. So in a previous session, it was an individual session. One-on-one session I did with someone recently, and the healers basically said, begin to notice when you have experiences that create sensory perceptions that you didn't recognize before. So each person has the capability of smelling illness. and smelling other things as well, right? So pheromones, any type of hormonal release. It is just that there are only a percentage who will develop that ability where it is significant enough that they know what they're receiving, right? Um, so I live in a high rise and I get in the elevator a lot. And you're in a small space with another individual. And it's a great place to practice for me. What am I smelling? What am I sensing? What am I hearing? You know, is it this lifetime? Is it last lifetime? You know, and I might go 10 floors with somebody. And in that time, I practice or play with just what is this? You know, what am I experiencing? So in this recent session, the healers recommend to the person begin to sense what you're noticing about other people. And I also put this in the chat for someone there as well. David, I think it was David. What are you experiencing? What are you sensing? What are you feeling? And to recognize that your sense of smell, your sense of hearing, uh, they're really valid senses. Make sure you're paying attention to that. For me, and for any pregnant woman who ever had hypersensitivity to smell, uh, um, you're on the right track to having those experiences. So begin to notice. I mean, you can also choose to smell it or not. There are some people I can feel in this room who are like, absolutely not. I don't ever want to know what the smell of cancer is. And that's okay too. It's not something that everyone has to do. But know that if you are experiencing that, you have the sensitivity there. You could smell cancer. You could smell illness of any kind. It is a shift in the glandular system, the hormonal system, the chemical system of the person who's ill. And it absolutely will give off a scent if you're able to perceive it. Doesn't need to be a goal for other people to have that ability. You may perceive it in another way, visually. May see that there is an energy inconsistency in their field of energy. You may sense it kinesthetically, right? You're around somebody who has an illness and you're feeling something in your own body and you're like, that's not me. So there are all kinds of ways each of you will perceive inconsistencies in energy. And the more you practice with that and just recognize it and trust, 100% trust. That's the smell of cancer. And just, if you got it, just notice it and be like, oh, okay. That's a thing I can do. That's really cool. Put it in your tool bag. And if it comes up in an environment where you can use that to your benefit, to the benefit of others, it'll be amazing. Yeah, that's a cool gift. And Lori, if you'd send that link in the community chat, if you have that link to the person in, did you say somewhere in Sweden?
Scotland. It was
Scotland.
I'll have to search it out. It was a podcast that I listened to a while back, but yeah, it was pretty fascinating. I'll see what I can do.
Yeah, thank you. Sharing any of this information in the group chat is great because we're all about helping as many people as possible. That's my goal is I seek out the information to assist in healing. And healing can be the physical body, it can be mental health, it could be a spiritual thing. Healing could extend to the concept of how do I stop repeating a pattern? How do I get out of the addiction to my chemistry? That's all a form of healing and helping as many people as possible. Throw it in the chat. It might help somebody else if you've got information like that. Please, love to see that in the chat space as well. Thank you all so much for being here today. It was an amazing discussion. I appreciate each of you for being here. I want you to know there's just a tremendous amount of love, a lot of aloha. Have a
Thank you,
wonderful
Jen.
day.
Thank you, Jen.
Thank you, Jan.
You're welcome.
Love you. Safe travels.
Thank you. Love
Thank you,
you.
Jan.
You're welcome.
Bye.